Listen, right, most people use hair butters completely wrong, and it has everything to do with your hair strand thickness and your hair's density. What's good, guys? It's your girl Keisha Ariel, founder of Here We Grow, and in today's video I'm going to be sharing with you how you should tailor your hair care routine based on your hair's density as well as your hair strand thickness. So let's jump right into it. Okay, so in my previous video I had mentioned that I will be doing a video on how to use our Here We Grow butters for both coarse and fine hair textures. But before jumping into that, we have to first discuss hair density, as this greatly affects your hair care routine, as you can have thick hair strands with low density, or you can have thin hair strands with high density, and that requires a different approach. So let's first talk about what is hair density. Hair density refers to the number of individual hair strands you have per square inch on your scalp. So it's a measure of how closely packed your hair follicles are, which directly impacts the overall appearance of fullness or sparseness in your hair or across your scalp. Now, there are three categories of hair density, which includes high density, and this is generally characterized as having typically more than 180 hairs per square centimeter. Also, the hair appears full and voluminous, and it may be challenging to see the scalp without parting the hair. Next, we have medium density, which usually have between 130 to 180 hairs per square centimeter, and it has a balanced appearance, so it's neither too full nor too sparse, and the scalp may be visible with minimal effort. And lastly, you have low density, which generally have fewer than 130 hairs per square centimeter. Also, the hair appears thinner or more sparse, and the scalp is often easily visible. So with that, depending on the combination of your hair's profile, so that is whether you have thick versus thin or fine hair strands, and your hair's density, this will impact how you use our butters in your hair care routine. For example, if you have, say, high, medium, or low density and thin hair strands, your focus would be on using lightweight volumizing products, simply because your hair strands are on the thinner or finer side. So with thin hair strands, you don't want to weigh down your hair despite your density, okay? However, if you have high or medium density and thick hair strands, your emphasis would be on moisture sealing techniques. Now, if you have low density and thick hair strands, you will need to use rich products sparingly while focusing on the ends of your hair. So even though your strands are thick and can handle heavier products, because your density is low, you have to use heavier products sparingly, otherwise it will appear as though the products you're using are weighing down your hair, as opposed to now if you had a higher density, you can get away with it without your hair looking way down. So that's a clear indicator that hair density is equally as important, and it impacts your hair care routine. But as a rule of thumb, if you have high density hair, you want to focus on moisture distribution and product penetration. So you want to use techniques like sectioning for thorough product application. Also, you want to consider using lighter products to avoid weighing your hair down, especially if you have finer hair texture. And also, you want to implement protective styling to manage volume and reduce tangling of your hair. Now, if you have medium density hair, you want to balance moisture and protein treatments, especially if you have finer hair strands. However, if you do have coarser hair texture, you still want to ensure that you're doing your protein treatments, but you may not have to do it as frequently as someone who have finer hair strands. But once again, I have a video lined up where I will be discussing how often you should be doing protein treatments based on your hair's porosity, so you want to keep an eye out for that. And also, if you have medium density hair and have finer hair strands, you can consider experimenting with various styling techniques for desired fullness, and also use products that enhance your natural volume without overwhelming your hair. And lastly, if you have low density hair, you want to choose lightweight products that won't weigh your hair down. Also, you want to focus on scalp care to promote follicle stimulation and healthy hair growth, so that you can definitely go ahead and try our hair oil for that. Yeah, because it helps to stimulate the follicles. And also, whether you have thick or thin hair strands, consider using volumizing products and techniques to help create the appearance of fullness. And you also want to be gentle with styling to prevent unnecessary hair loss or breakage. So when tailoring your hair care routine, you have to combine your knowledge of your hair's profile. So that includes your hair's density along with other characteristics such as your strand thickness and your porosity, and also whether you have kinky, coily, curly, wavy, or straight hair. Now with that covered, let's dive into how you can use our Here We Grow butters in your hair care routine based on your hair's texture.